Hi guys, it's Pride Month and exploring my sexuality is something that I've never really done, and I thought it'd be a really cool experience sharing this journey. I'm not as deep in the LGBTQ plus community, but I haven't seen a lot of content about people exploring their sexuality. I thought it'd be a cool thing to share my own journey, I guess. As I said before, I haven't really explored that much, especially because number one, I know I'm into guys. I think I grew up in a pretty heteronormative community. I come from an Asian household. The mindset, especially in the past few decades, have been a lot more conservative. I think recently with the overall mindset evolving to be more open, it's also having a more progressive impact in our community. But yeah, the mindset I grew up in was that the norm was to be straight, and that's just how I operated. And especially given the fact that I had no issues having crushes on guys, like my sexuality was never a huge issue for me, so I never found the necessity to really question anything. I've thought about it a little bit because I'm pretty sure I've had at least 2 distinct crushes on girls throughout high school. Again, it wasn't really a struggle for me because my crushes that I had on girls weren't that much different from the crushes I had on guys. Like when I had crushes, I just didn't really talk to them and I just like admired them from afar. Thus, there was no issues in terms of, oh, I have a crush on my friend, like what do I do about this? I feel weird around her. Like I just never questioned it any further. I'm just like, oh, maybe I think she's pretty, but it doesn't really matter because it doesn't really affect me. And there are other things, like one time I found this document that are like signs that you could be lesbian. It's compiled by people who like went through the journey already. They all found like common indications that they didn't realize was a common like effect of their sexuality. For example, thinking you have crushes on guys but never actually wanting to be in a relationship with them. Just those types of things. And then although I still don't really know, I was like, okay, wait, that kind of sounds like me because I have crushes a lot, but I never really get into relationships that much. And sometimes I attribute it to be like, oh, it's because I want perfection or something like that, but maybe it could also be an indication of something else. I don't really know. I also always assumed that nobody could be fully straight because I was just like, okay, everyone's just a human being. If I have an emotional connection with someone, it doesn't really matter if they're a guy or a girl. I would fall in love with them the same way because they're just a person and we connect like that, right? But then I had a discussion with one of my friends and he was talking about how you have to be sexually attracted to your significant other. My friend was just adamantly against the idea that you could be attracted to anybody regardless of their gender. So that kind of made me think like, okay, maybe it is just my mindset that thinks it's possible to like any gender regardless. Another like funny thing is online there's this whole thing where social media ads know you better than you know yourself, and I get a lot of lesbian dating app ads. So I was like, okay, maybe I am not entirely straight. Okay, that was probably already given, but I just thought I'd explore it a little bit more. So what I did was just open up my Hinge preferences to girls. Although I haven't had any sort of huge revelation within this month, I guess I just decided right now that I should still make this video and share my thoughts on it because I feel like this topic of sexuality and being part of the LGBTQ plus community shouldn't feel that exclusive. I think at some points I was like, okay, I don't fully identify as not straight, so maybe this community isn't something that I can reach or be part of, even though I still support a lot of the openly LGBTQ plus creators. I just never feel like I'm part of the community, but I feel like that's something that I shouldn't have to separate myself from, especially because I think being not sure about sexuality is something that's really universal and can be more talked about. Yeah, so I mean, I don't really know. I just thought I would share this. So here's some of the thoughts that I had while exploring non-straight interactions on Hinge. I don't know, man. It's editing Megan here. I totally forgot to mention, but this is how my profile looked like. I'm actually just experimenting a little bit right now, so just like a heads up for anyone that might want to match with me. I put a disclaimer in my Hinge that I was experimenting because I didn't want to lead anyone on, since I realized how frustrating that might be to girls who are actually looking for a relationship. It's funny because I opened it back up to guys halfway because I missed the male tension, and half of them started asking me what I meant by experimenting. I was like, this message isn't meant for you, but okay, I guess. I'll start from the moment I opened my preferences up to girls, but the first thing I noticed is that girls are substantially more good looking than guys. I don't know if it's because I view them with a less critical eye or have a less developed taste in girls, but overall they just seem a lot prettier than the guys because the guys are always like so crusty. I don't know why. At one point I was with some of my friends and a few of them were guys and a few of them were girls. I remember we saw a group of girls pass by and me and my other girlfriends were like, damn, they're so pretty. But then the guys were like, they're kind of and I was like, So I don't know, maybe that's just an indication of how tastes towards the opposite gender might be a little bit more critical, or it's just a general thing that women see more beauty in other women. I don't know. Something else I noticed about girls is that they're a lot more artistic and they seem to have better style. Like a lot of the girls that would show up on my page would definitely have like really nice outfits and seem to have really cool interests. Like this one girl had lizard or something on her, or there would be a bunch of musicians or people with art accounts and that type of thing. Or maybe that's just my personal preference in girls and Hinge was just, I don't know. Or maybe it just speaks to more common hobbies that are liked by girls versus guys. Like more girls like artistic things and pretty things, but more guys like freaking like anime or math or hiking. I don't know. But when I see a guy that likes anime, automatically say no to him because I know he probably has somewhat yellow fever low-key. But anyways, that's besides the point. I just think being interested in art and stuff is so much more interesting and gives a person a lot more depth. This is also something that I've noticed, but I feel like for guys, I definitely tend to preference Asian guys, but I feel like I'm a lot more open to other races within girls. Maybe it's because I'm looking for some line of commonality between a romantic pursuit. Like for guys, if they're a different race, then I'm like, okay, I don't have anything in common with them, so that they have to be an Asian guy, so the thing that I have in common with them is Asian. But then maybe it's like with a girl, I already have in common with them that we're women, so then we don't have to have commonalities on the basis of race. Another thing that I experienced while doing this was the concept of figuring out who's supposed to make the first move. I think when it comes to guys, if I like them, I would just like them, and I feel like I didn't really care enough to put in the effort to like talk to them, but I felt more responsibility when hearting girls that I should be coming up with some topic to talk about or something, especially because I wasn't seeing as many hearts. So I'm like, okay, I really gotta make each connection count. My conclusion is that girls are a lot more high quality than guys. But yeah, I did get a few matches and a few hearts, and I think I matched with every girl that hearted me, especially if they started a conversation. But I definitely realized that there's a lot of ghosting that happens. First of all, a lot of the chats that were sent back and forth were like, oh, you're so pretty, like you give me really good vibes. I think I also bonded with some girls in terms of like music and art. I was like, oh, what type of art do you do? What type of music are you into? Which is cool, it's different from guys. It definitely feels a lot more like open and safe and inviting talking to girls. I also wanted to mention, I had one really good conversation about tattoos and Studio Ghibli and astrology, but while I was looking for the conversation, I think she actually unmatched with me after because I kind of ghosted her, which is my bad, but we really vibed, so that's a little bit sad. There's a lot more ghosting involved. I'm not the most active user on Hinge either. Like, I probably checked the app a total of like 5 times this month. Okay, maybe like 10 maximum. And that's more than I usually do because I was actively trying to experience things to make this video. But yeah, there's a few girls that I haven't replied back to, even though I would want to. I think it's just because right now in my life, it's not really seeking romantic relationships. And a lot of girls did ghost me too, which is okay. And there's this girl who had a really funny prompt about a penis. She said, a random fact I love is platforms reproduce by participating in penis fencing. This entails a duel to inseminate the other loser stuck prego. I thought that was really funny. You won't find that type of personality in men. She said, has the potential to end homophobia. Factual. Anyways, back to the video. I don't know, that's pretty much like my entire experience for this month. I feel like it'll definitely take me time to learn more. I think also with me personally, I do have a hard time connecting with people through dating apps. I feel like I need history in terms of building relationships in order to really want to talk to someone. When I'm on dating apps, I'm like, I have no clue who you are. We have no connection. I don't really know why. I'm trying to get to know you. You know what I mean? So I think the lack of progress has more to do with that regarding my experience. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like overall romantic relationships are something that I still don't have a proper grasp on. Like, I can't tell the difference between platonic and romantic love. I don't even know what I'm looking for in a romantic partner or anything like that. So I feel like this whole topic is just like a really big question mark for me, and it's probably something I'll just have to continue experiencing to really understand. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have. Hopefully anyone watching this can relate to it. If anyone is further along in their journey than me and wants to psychoanalyze me or draw any parallels between your experience with mine, please go ahead. I would love to hear it. I love hearing like different people's experiences and perspectives on like exploring sexuality, or even thoughts on what it means to love, thoughts on platonic versus romantic, anything like that. So yeah, just let me know. I would love to hear. And thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video, and happy Pride.